Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video. So, uh, I don't know. You can see the title of this video. Is it like Declutter with me or something? I don't know. Because I'm gonna light incense while I'm kind of babbling in the background here, so hopefully it sounds okay. I am sort of questioning right now what tarot's role in my life is. Not in the sense of like, do I want to stop using it or anything like that, because that's not the case. Tarot's been a part of my life since I don't really know the exact year that I got my first tarot deck and started reading cards, but I suspect it would have been 14, 15, somewhere around that age. Because that's right around the time, I don't know, I'll have to ask my mom, when did she get her first tarot deck? Because I feel like it was like same time period that we both kind of, maybe same time period. Maybe I got her into tarot. I don't know. Anyway, so it's not a question of like, is tarot going to be a part of my life at all? But I think I have misused it in the last 5 years or so. And when I feel like there's going to be a lot of emotion surrounding like how people might react to what I'm saying in this video. So please note the disclaimer is that I am speaking for myself and my experiences and where I'm at right now. So there's been a lot of, I feel like I'm at a precipice of change in my life. I'm making better decisions for myself. I'm facing emotions that I haven't faced in a while. I'm in a good place. And part of that is like waking up from a coma and looking around and realizing that there's a lot of shit. I think this got accidentally moved before I hit record. Okay, yeah, that's kind of how I wanted it. So when I say I'm questioning tarot's role in my life, basically what I mean by that is the last 5 years or so, I have been basically every night, I would go upstairs at the end of the day, as soon as my chores were done for the day, sit in my tarot closet and pull cards, watch tarot videos at the same time. It was a very frenetic, anxious process. And tarot has been with me on that journey. It has soothed me when I needed to be soothed. However, I feel like I have learned to cope with my emotions better now. Like, I've sort of settled into old habits that are actually better for me. Not better for me than tarot, like in general, but better for me than spending all of my time with tarot. Better for me than overusing tarot, such as journaling, reading, art. And, tarot supplements those things for me. I guess that's the point. I took something that was a supplement in my life that helped me start conversations with myself, and I made it the whole conversation. And that didn't work. So all of that is to say, and at this point, like for a while, I was, like many people when they started acquiring tarot decks, looking for the perfect deck, right? Which, as many of us have said, it doesn't exist. But I did find some nearly perfect ones. And I don't know if at the end of whatever it is that I'm going through right now, I'm going to be a person that has 5 tarot decks again. Because that's about the average of how many I had starting at the age of 15 up through the age of like 36 when I started really buying all the tarot and oracle decks. So these are, anyway, so that's the philosophical element of this that I'm sure I will talk about as I go through these. But these 2 boxes are, this one is my Pusheen Purgatory, which is basically the giveaway box. So these are the ones that like are almost for sure going away. In fact, these for sure are going away. There's only 4 decks in here. Or 5 if you count this one. This one is Modern Witch. I no longer have anything else, just the cards. I am saving this one for, it's actually warm enough now to do this, but I'm saving this one. I'm doing like a spell where I'm going to ritually burn this as a symbol of letting go of this habit of overusing tarot, over acquiring tarot, depending on it too much. It was a crutch. It became a crutch. And I'm not taking it out on tarot, but I am taking it out on consumerism. I'm taking it out on this crippling, suffocating acquisition of packs of cards, which is, of course, I've been going through this process for a long time. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of my Pusheen Purgatory. This is just like a storage box that keeps, these are like, maybe I'm keeping them, maybe I'm not. So that's going to be kind of, I'll be getting these out and trying to make some decisions here on camera. Personally, these types of videos frustrate me, so I totally understand if this isn't for you. Because, you know, at the end of this, how many things are going to move from this box to this box? I don't know. You know? Am I ready? Because one thing that I've learned through the decluttering process, because I've gone through a for sure binge and purge process when it comes to tarot decks many times. And when I feel like I need to let things go, sometimes that's motivated by stress. And sometimes that's motivated by actually needing to let things go. So, and it's hard to tell the difference because either way, it feels great to let things go. Even if it ultimately isn't the right time, even if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So it's hard to know because I'm really fucking sick of this process, to be honest. I'm sick of finding things to do with the things that I let go of. I'm sick of making the wrong decisions, and reacquiring things. Because 9 times out of 10, when I reacquire something, I let it go again. Because whatever reason I let it go in the first place is still present. It doesn't change just because you get nostalgic about a deck and want to hold it in your hands again. And I, unfortunately, am not a person that can just shove these things on my shelf and forget about them. You know, it's a deck collection is not the same as a book collection for me. These things cause me distress when they're around and I'm not using them. Anyway, that's a lot of fucking talking as per usual. But okay, let me take you on a tour of the things that are for sure leaving. This one is a Frida Kahlo deck based on Thoth. It is beautifully done. It was a gift. I love how it's like in this like little cigar box. I really like it. it's a beautiful labor of love. But this, to me, I used it intensely when I first got it. I'm not gonna fucking get it out. I'm not gonna do it. I used it intensely when I first got it for a couple of months, and then it just went quiet. That was my time with it. So because this one was a gift, I would love to pass this one along. So this is one, I think this is possibly the only one like this, actually. But if you are interested in this tarot deck, send me an email. So my email will be down below, mixtressray@protonmail.com. Send me an email if you're in the United States and you would like this deck. I will mail it to you. I know that I want to get it out of my house because I'm done. So, and doing the whole customs form thing has not always worked out for me in the past. I mean, obviously if we're friends and you live in a different country, that's a different story. But if we're not already friends, but you do want this, you need to be in the United States. Sorry, that's just how it is. So let me know if you want this one. It was a gift to me, so I'm happy to pass it along. So there you go. There's two things right there. This one is going to be in a bonfire burning ritual. This one I'm going to hopefully give away to one of you. This is just a collection of cards from different oracle decks that I like the art, and so I'm not really keeping the decks to use them as decks. So this is just like a whole bunch of different shit. I use these for different purposes. This is Urban Crow Oracle. It's perfectly serviceable as a basic oracle deck. I just don't like the artwork. So, yeah, this one's gotta go. I don't have the box anymore. I guess this is another one. Yeah. I guess I do have more than one that I would be willing to send to someone. So if you're interested in this one, send me an email with your address if you're in the United States. I just don't really... I love crows. I love the color scheme in this deck. Theoretically, I like the accessible keywords, but I just don't like the art. Actually, okay, sorry guys, I'm going to take that back because my sister would like this deck, and it's her birthday coming up in a month, so don't email me about this one after all. I'll just mail it to my sister. So that's definitely going. This is Mystical Shaman Oracle. No longer have the boxes. Edged it in green because I do that with everything. Yeah, let me know if you're interested in this one too, and you live in the United States. It's kind of the older Hay House cardstock that's a little bit more flexible, so but it's still matte. Yeah, I'm just done. I'm just done with that. I sort of realized one day that I can't stand Jasmine Beckett Griffiths artwork anymore. I just don't like looking at it anymore. So Lay Vampires is going back to the witchy shop next time I go there, because that one's actually complete with the box and everything, which is the only way that they'll take decks. So that's going back to the witchy store. Let's tackle what's in here, because these are like more unsure circumstances. Like, I don't know if I'm letting any of those go, except this. This is the 1909 Art Restoration deck. I did an unfair comparisons video of this, and I didn't upload it. It's a faithful reproduction of one of the 5 remaining copies of the original, very, very, very first printing of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I love it for its historical context. This is actually the first time I've ever had a deck from Drive Through Cards, and I love the cardstock. It's really thin and flexible, and it has a core, and I highly recommend if you're in the market for something like this. But this one is, I already know where this one is going. This one is getting donated to the library. We are going to have at our library a sort of like beginner tarot set. And it's going to have this deck and like a beginner tarot book in it. So I'm actually going to set that aside so I can add it to my pile of things to take to the library, because that's getting donated. I just put it in that box just to show you another example of a place that I'm taking another fucking I'm just so sick of this. I'm just so sick of it. The whole process of integrating new things into my life, trying to decide if I like them, trying to decide what to do with them when I decide I don't like them. You know, I feel guilty every time I let go of something because that hasn't reached the end of its usefulness. I don't feel guilty for throwing out a pair of underwear when it's holy, you know? But I do feel guilty when I thought I was going to like something, bought it, and then realized I don't like it. And then I have to figure out what to do from there. I'm fucking sick of that process, guys. I'm frustrated and I'm sick of it. Next, this one, I've been keeping it for like sentimental reasons. I bought this at the witchy store from the used bin on the day I got my septum pierced. I was with friends and I had been wanting this deck for a long time. And this is actually like one of the first, if not the first, it's one of the first printings of it. So it's from the 90s. And it's beautiful. So but I just don't use it. I mean, I've pulled it out for pick-a-pile readings and things like that, and it's pretty. It's hard to, you know, use it in general because of the blinginess. But I also enjoy the fact that it's like one of the first decks that had the blinginess. I do know that if I ever do let this one go, it's going back to the witchy store where I got it. It'll go back in that used bin for the next person. It's not, that's where it's going. I know that much. But I don't think I'm ready to let that one go yet. I think I'm gonna give it, see, for me, like the process of like deciding that you might want to let go of something and putting it in a box and like how long do you keep it there, and like, am I being indecisive by even having a purgatory box? You know? This one isn't, this one's just kind of an extra storage. And this one's the giveaway. But you know, okay, let's talk about this just real quick because I'm not taking, these are my prototypes for my 2 Oracle decks that I made. So I'm keeping them, I don't know why, just sentimental reasons. Same reason I keep all my old journals, even though they're cringy as fuck. I keep them because it's a portrait of where I was at a particular time. So I'm keeping these. This one is Desert Illuminations Tarot. This is one that, you know, I've had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. Get this fool. This fool needs to get out of the box. I've had a lot of fun with it. I I love the colors. I love the backs. Many of the cards are well done, but many of them are rushed. This is one of the well done ones. This is one of the well done ones. Like, all the majors are great. The aces are beautiful. But there are things that really annoy me about this deck. And it's not, like, for example, the 8 of chilies has 10 chilies. And the fact that it's cut and pasted, the little bunch of chilies is the same on every single card. That bugs me. But it's got, you know, country, this is Annie Oakley, but it's got like country music stars. It's got cactus. It's got sombreros. It's got gorgeous colors. It's got aliens. You know, like, it delights me to look at it, but I've kind of stopped using it. And I know, since this one's like first edition, first printing, I could actually get some money out of this one. If I choose to let it go, I will be putting it on eBay, because a girl's got to recoup some expenses sometimes. But again, this is one that just entered the sort of maybe I'm done with it phase of its existence. I've never really considered letting it go before the last month or so. So it is gonna stay in here for a minute. Gothmancy. This is one that's been in and out of the Purgatory box for a few months. And every time I look at it, I'm like, but Robert Smith. But Kate Bush. But I appreciate this for what it is and what it tried to do. And the fact that this is a pop culture deck where every single card is associated with a song. I do think aspects of this deck were rushed. I am personally not a fan of David Bowie in a deck. But there are things like, unfortunately, part of the narrative when I get this deck out is my dissatisfaction with certain aspects of the deck. And how, like, if I pull a card where I don't necessarily recognize the situation on the card, or there's, like, the artwork's really fucking busy too. And the surface of the cards, it has like that UV protective coating or whatever on it. And I don't have any other decks that have that. So it has this like slimy feel. And it also like scratches really easily. This is one of my favorite 3 of Swords though. This is one of those situations where the creator just like does a fucking Kickstarter every time she decides to print the deck again. Which, you know, people can do what they want. People can do what they want, but it annoys me. But this is a first edition, so I could possibly get some money out of this, but I doubt it, actually. I don't think this one, I might be able to make my money back for it, though. But yeah, I think this is going. It's exhausting, though. And there have been many times, and please know that if you're going through this process yourself, like, you are under no obligation to find the right next home for these items. Because I know how it feels to feel like you need to find the right place to put these things. And sometimes I have the energy to do it, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes things got to go in the recycling bin. Sometimes things need to just get put in the little library down the street. You know? You don't, if the main thing is you got to get it the fuck out of your house, get it the fuck out of your house. And if you don't need the money, like as far as like listing things on Facebook groups or eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or wherever, if you don't need the money and you don't want to do it, don't fucking do it. don't fucking do it. Don't get caught up in like, oh, this is a first edition, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting caught up in that because I do need the money. And I have done it many times before. It's not that big of a deal. I just need to force myself to do it. So that's why I am likely going to be listing this. And if I do get rid of Desert Illuminations, that will get listed as well, because I know a lot of people want that one. Okay, Santa Muerte. This just went on the chopping block. I've had it since 2019, and it has never been one that I considered letting go of until now. And really, the only reason why I'm considering letting it go is because it's, as far as like readings, it's not great for me. But some of the images, like this High Priestess is one of my favorite High Priestesses ever. Love the Hierophant. Love the Wheel of Fortune. Like, this is a deck that really does communicate with me, but it does not get used very often. What I'm thinking right now is that this will stay and Desert Illuminations will go, but I'm not ready to say goodbye to either of them yet. And then last, this is Cosmic Tribe. I think this deck is, I'm actually going to avoid showing the penises just in case. Just in case I get demonetized. But I think this deck is so charming. It is so charming. Drag Queen on the Justice card. It's just, the type of artwork is so specific to the era that it's from. It's digital collage in the cringiest way, which I love. I just love that this particular tarot deck exists. I love that it exists. And every time I get it out, and I don't have Thoth anymore, and this one is based on Thoth. And the guidebook is super sweet and charming. It's all like just sweet, lovey-dovey language. And it just reminds me of a very specific moment in time, you know, whenever everybody was clubbing on ecstasy before it went dark, you know? So this is one that I think I'm going to keep, even though it doesn't read super well for me. But when I look at it, it makes me happy. And since I am letting go of Avatara, which is the other Thoth-based deck that I have, or Thoth-inspired deck, or whatever you want to call it. Look at the Six of Swords. Incredible. Incredible. It just makes me happy. Looking at it makes me happy. And it cost me less than $20. And I keep it in this gorgeous alien bag. So this one is an incident of like, one I'm choosing to keep because I enjoy looking at it, and I enjoy, it's just like I just get a warm feeling from, like, I hope everyone that was involved in creating this deck, I just feel like it was made with such love. So, yeah. That's it. So how many actually transferred from here to here? One. So, yeah. Um, it's this whole thing is such a goddamn process. And if you're going through it, my sympathies are with you. It's heavy. I mean, maybe I know that it's not heavy for everyone. For me, when I'm decluttering other aspects of my life, it's not like this. Like, for example, I don't declutter things like my journals because they're sentimental, and even if they're full of cringy crap that I don't really ever want to read again, I don't know, it's a portrait of my life, so I'm keeping it. I will store those journals until the day I die, and someone might want to read them after. They might not. It's okay either way. You know, so if you look at that from a logical perspective, it seems like a little bit like, why the fuck am I keeping those? If I don't necessarily want to look, I mean, I will probably look back on them. I do occasionally look back on them. It's an insight into my psychological history, and it provides meaning to my life today when I do look at that shit. But so, you know, that I don't even declutter. I don't declutter my journals. And I don't even have all of them because not all of them survived the tornado. And many of the ones I did save, like, there'll be whole chunks of pages that are so water damaged you can't read anything on them. You know, and that, you know, it is what it is. But like other aspects of my life, for example, like, it just aren't that hard. Like when I declutter books, not that big of a deal. I just go, haven't read this in 10 years and I don't feel like reading it again, so I'll let it go. You know, it's not that hard. But letting go of tarot decks is, because tarot decks have sometimes been with you. I'm comparing them to journals in the sense that a journal witnesses your innermost thoughts. A tarot deck does as well, but the tarot deck doesn't hold those thoughts. Or if it does, you can't read it back literally, you know? It's more abstract, and any tarot deck can get you there, you know? I'm lately feeling sort of, what's the word? Hampered by the amount of decks that I have. You know, just last night I was journaling, and often when I'm journaling, I will suddenly think of something to pull cards about, and I will journal that. And I had that thought last night, and I had to decide what deck to get out to ask the question I wanted to ask that I was journaling about. And that thought, it used to be kind of exciting to me for a while. Like, ooh, what deck do I want to use for this? And then I would go look at all my decks. But now that fucking shit, just the thought of it exhausts me. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted because I have too many things that serve the same purpose. You know, with journals, you're writing in them, and then when you fill them up, you put them on the shelf and you go to the next one. You know, it's not, you don't have to make a choice. When you want to journal, you don't have to make a choice unless you're one of those, maybe there's journal tube. Well, this journal's for this and this journal's for this. And I've been there. I've been down that road. There was a time in my life when I had like 5 or 6 journals going at once because they were for different purposes. But it was crippling to me. It was crippling to me to have choices like that. I'm sick of crippling myself with choices. I'm sick of making my life more complicated. there's no reason for it. And the less shit I have, the less stuff I have to clean. You know, I was thinking last night, like as I was falling asleep, I was sort of fantasizing about living in a small place. You know, this sort of like, and it's not the first time I've done that. But like when Michael and I moved into the house that we live in now, it's not a gigantic house, but it's pretty spacious for the fact that only 2 human beings live in it. And, you know, all the utilities and all that shit are way more expensive than they need to be because it's a bigger house. You know, like we could easily live in a house that's 2/3 the size of the one that we live in and be happy with that amount of space. And ultimately that's the plan. So if that's ultimately the plan, which we're not actively looking for another house right now, but if ultimately that's the plan, then we need less shit. Because over the course of the 11 almost, no, 9 almost 9 years that we've lived in this house. At first, we didn't have nearly enough stuff to put in it because we were going from a space about this big to a space that's this big, you know? We were going from the amount of space that we had where we were living before we moved here was equivalent to a tiny house, probably. And then we moved into like an actual house. Anyway, all of that is to say, like last night I was fantasizing about like moving to a smaller place and how liberating it would feel to not have a choice about keeping all of this shit. I would have to get rid of a lot of shit and it would feel very freeing, right? So yeah, I guess it's just this whole thing is just the typical story of like a person that feels like she's drowning in her stuff. And this is a person that like the entire time I've been acquiring tarot and oracle decks, I've been letting them go when I'm ready to let them go. Like I've never just held on to a bunch of them for no reason. I have let them go. I've been letting them go this whole time. And yet I still have a box full of shit I need to find something to do with. And I'm so done. I'm so done with all of it. Because at the end of the day, I have my beloved, like, 10 or so tarot decks and 10 or so oracle decks. And why do I have anything else? I don't know. And I don't know why I can't let go of a lot of them. And if I can't let go of some of them, why can't I just see them as, you know, like this cosmic tribe? The fact that it just makes me happy to look at it. Why is that not a reason enough to keep it? Some days it is, and other days I'm like, oh God, I should really get rid of that. I don't use it. Sometimes I think I'm holding on to things for people, like that I don't know yet, you know? Like sometimes I'll meet a person and I'll realize that a deck that I have is the perfect deck for them. And I'll be so happy to give it to them. And there are times that I let something go and later I'm like, man, if only I hadn't just let go of that deck. There've been times recently where like a friend has mentioned a deck that they want and it was one that I just let go of. It's like, fuck, I could have given you that. I could have given it to you. But, you know, my mom used to tell me whenever, in regards to relationships, because I would be in a shitty relationship with a guy. And, you know, she'd be so frustrated, like, why are you staying with this guy? He's awful to you, blah, blah, blah. And then she would just say, well, you're not done until you're done. Obviously, you're not done. And sometimes it's like that with tarot too. Like I'll just wake up one day, well, I'm done. I am done. Anyway, I'm really also just feeling like I'm at sort of a crossroads with even like what I'm going to be putting on this YouTube channel. Because I'm not getting any more decks. I do not want any more decks for the most part. There are people like actively yelling at each other somewhere in my neighborhood. I can't see anything, but I can hear it. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, YouTube. I filmed an unfair comparisons the other day between this, my University Press pink Ankh Rider-Waite Smith, and my plaid back from the 80s. And it was just like, oh my God, how many times have I done this? How many times have I compared Rider-Waite Smith decks to each other in an unfair comparisons? And I just like couldn't stand even watching it back. So I definitely couldn't upload it because I couldn't even stand watching it. I was so bored by my own fucking content. So I don't know what's next for this, because what I'm passionate about right now, I'm going back to basics. What I'm passionate about right now is books. Reading books, writing in journals, making art, connecting to other human beings. And also, you know, the recent death in my life has really been affecting me a lot. And it is, as I'm sure many of you can relate, death is putting life in perspective. It's like, none of this shit matters at all. It doesn't matter. And it's shit that other people are going to have to deal with when you're gone. I don't want them to have to deal with a lot of shit. I don't want them to be like, oh my God, why did she have so many goddamn tarot decks? Because the reality of how much I actually engage with these things is that it's not that much. I mean, yeah, they're the ones that I actually do use very frequently, such as my Rider-Waite Smith in this little bag right here, such as my Marigold Tarot and the new Mirror Oracle from Amrit Brar. I'm using it a lot. A review is forthcoming on that one. I actually am excited about that one, and it's a new thing in my life, so it's not like I'm incapable of accepting new divination decks in my life, you know? Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to do readings for other people anymore. I don't know if, I mean, again, like tarot has become a supplement to my life. Whereas for the last 5 years or so, it was my life. It was all I was ever thinking about is decks, 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 decks. And it ultimately was, I mean, I had experiences with a lot of different things, and it taught me some shit about myself, about divination. You know, in the last 5 years, I've learned tarot in a way that I never did before. But I think overall, the acquisition of all of the things was worse for me than it was good. And in order to put that truly behind me, I need to let go of some things. And it's hard. Anyway, I'm just babbling as always. But every time I think like I'm in a good place with my collection, I become unsettled again. So I don't know if, I think that ultimately for me means I still just have too many. those moments of becoming unsettled and needing to let go of more shit do happen less frequently. It's like, you know, the spiralic trauma thing of like, it's gonna come back and hit you, but it'll take longer before it comes back again. At least you have the comfort in that. Anyway, I'm doing my no internet February again this year. This is like my 4th year in a row. Today's February 1st as I record this. And I'm really excited about it this year. It's like, I need a break from the internet. For sure. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with right now. I don't know how frequently I'm going to be here. But I figured if I was going to be staring at these decks that I'm about to get rid of, I might as well talk about it with you guys. So thanks for listening.